Hello everyone. Today we're gonna rank the DLC updates over the past 10 years in GTA Online. We have a lovely tier list, and we are gonna rank them best to worst, plus the Booty Man shitty category.
We have all major updates in
These are all
this
based
tier.
off of our personal opinion too, so if
Yeah.
there's something you
So,
like better, it's just depends on what kind of player you are, you know.
right.
Alright,
Anyway,
so
let's
get
start off
started.
with good old Beach Bum. The Beach Bum update. The first ever update to come out into online.
It was a solid update. We got some new weapons like the broken bottle and the SNS pistol. Yeah, it was a good first start, I feel like, to the game.
Yeah. Had some lovely vehicles like the story mode characters vehicles. So you got the Trevor's truck, Franklin's Buffalo, Michael's what is it? Obi, like tailgater, I think it's called.
Yeah,
So you could use them in online, customize them because they had some decent customization options in the story. Other vehicles, we had the Bifter, beach buggy, that Kalahari, and the Pedo van, Paradise, bro.
the good old pedo van.
And
I also liked
obviously,
all the clothing options and stuff.
yeah, the sort of beach style clothing and some other patches. Not bad for a first update, adding some new stuff and fixing problems which at the period were quite big of an issue.
Good
So,
start to the game. I'd say like right in the center.
yeah, I'd say decent. It's exactly
Yeah,
what the game
decent.
needed and what it got. So, content creator, obviously allowing you to make death matches and other races for other people to play.
I think that did a lot for the game. It gave a lot of like freedom in the community to create jobs that they like, and there's a lot of player created jobs that are still my favorite to this day.
Yeah, like you got the parkour ones.
Yeah, like
Quite
they're
fun.
also creative, you
Wall
know? Like a
Riders,
community.
RPG versus
Exactly.
what's it called? RPG versus car, that sort of
I felt
stuff.
like it was really important that they did this update because I think it did wonders for the game down the line and really incentivized the community. So I think that's above average. I think like just above decent is like where I would put it.
This next one, capture mode, so recording in game and uploading it to like YouTube or Twitter. Or, it's not called Twitter anymore, but it doesn't matter. I'd say this is quite good. I'd say probably cool as well in the same category.
Yeah, I'd put it the
Being
same. There
able
isn't
to,
really a lot to say about it. Just
yeah,
it's
it
cool.
just you get to record your own stuff. Like the only problem I would say is like the range. You can't really go that far out from your character or the area
Yeah.
that you're recording. But other than that, it's quite cool to record action in a different sort of perspective.
Yeah, I agree with
So
that.
I'll give it a cool. Like it could be better, but it's not
For at
bad.
the time it was, you know, there's no major titles released yet for updates. That was a solid one.
Yeah. Next one is capture. This is pretty much like capture the flag in any other game. I
Um
haven't really played any capture mode,
I
so
played a bit. It was fun when it came out at the time, but
but
it
is
was
it any
nothing like.
good?
I know some players love it. I know like some people I know in this game, it's like one of their favorites uh, that was released at the time. But I didn't. I personally didn't find it as mind blowing as other people did.
So we're just gonna have to base it off your opinion. Then is it gonna be bad
Yeah,
or meh?
it's not bad. I would just put it in decent. Like I feel like the first couple years of updates, there's nothing like there's no bad updates. The first couple years, they were all
But is
like.
it beach bum decent or meh?
I put it behind. Like still put it in decent, but like put it behind beach bums.
Right. The last update for 2013 was the Christmas one, the holiday gifts. Um, so that pretty much gave the community snow for the first time. which at the time was quite good.
Yeah, and it really set the tone for future Christmas updates, and it continued that tradition for the next 10 years, which I think was quite amazing that it transformed into that with that groundwork that they laid. I feel like it was an important update. It wasn't anything amazing, but
it wasn't big. It was just snow, clothing. And that was about it. And you only had snow on Christmas Day.
But now it's just like it's a classic staple of like GTA now is like we always get that Christmas update every year with the Christmas clothing.
With this Christmas update, it just wasn't as flamboyant as the other ones. Like, yeah, it laid the groundwork, but it didn't really do anything more than that.
Yeah.
So I would say probably
meh.
Yeah, meh. It's like it's good, good groundwork, but
yeah.
Other than that, just no. Alright, Valentine's Day Massacre. So that was when they brought out the Gusenberg sweeper, the Tommy gun.
I like that gun.
Very nice 1930s sort of style. Well, 1920s style, you could say.
And they also introduced the Roosevelt, which I like that car.
Yeah, it's a really nice car. Was there really anything other than that? I don't think
They just like there's more same stuff like clothing, hairstyles, and actions. So I'd say like they just fluffed up the game more to add more customization and things like that. It was a pretty small one, but it was appreciated. I liked it.
Yeah.
I feel like again it's just meh.
Yeah, just meh, I would say as well. Right, business update. So this is the update where they introduced the special carbine with the heavy pistol as well, and a few other vehicles. The Turismo, that wasn't a bad vehicle.
Yeah, the Jester.
Yeah, and a plane, the Vestra. I always called it the Vesra when I was younger. It was just like I think it's a 2 or 4 seater. It wasn't that bad. And
I say like
clothing, hairstyles, and tattoos. Just like another beach bum sort of styled update.
This is probably though honestly like one of my more favorite updates, just because I love the special carbine. Like it's probably my most used weapon to this day.
Yeah.
It's still OP. It's still like one of the best assault rifles 10 years later.
Obviously, it's been improved with the Mark II versions, but
yeah. But it's just like it's classic.
Useful.
It's such a classic gun in this game that like everyone knows the special carbine.
So yeah, I'd probably say decent or meh. I'm not sure.
I put it in decent. Like I feel like it's better than those other updates that have come previous.
Yeah. Alright, yeah. I agree with that. Right, next up is High Life. So that one was the update with the bullpup rifle and a few new supercars, the Zentorno. That was another.
Oh, I love the Zentorno.
That's another classic.
That's a staple
one,
car. Yeah, that's a staple.
Bulletproof back.
Oh man.
Brought more apartments and other jobs and stuff to do in the game. Once again,
Was this the first of the? Wasn't this the first update that introduced the actual like apartments, like the High Life apartments you could buy, the fancy ones?
Yeah, I think it was actually. So
I feel like that did a lot for the game, and the addition of the Zentorno, like that's a certified classic GTA car that's still used all the time.
Yeah, it was just like once again another groundwork for future updates, as those high-end apartments are used for the original heist, aren't they?
I feel like this was honestly, I feel like this is the best update so far. I honestly want to put it like above decent, because I feel like what it did for the game.
Be cool. It's got to be cool and amazing. Like, it really helped the game.
Yeah.
In the terms of like building for future updates, so I would say probably cool.
I'd say cool. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Next we got I'm Not a Hipster update. That brought some more weapons, the vintage pistol and the antique cavalry dagger.
Oh,
Weapons that
and
no one
special
really
mention,
uses.
there was a lot of vehicles, but specifically, I love that they added the Panto in this update because the Panto's like
German
my
smart car.
favorite meme car. It's just such a meme car to drive around in free mode. Like, I love that thing. I think it's one of my favorite, just like stupid vehicles. So I feel like it gets a lot of points from me because I freaking love the
And the
Panto and the
Dubster.
Dubsta.
It's like the perfect off-roading vehicle.
Yeah, yeah, that was a great vehicle that they added to the time for because there wasn't really a lot of good new off-roading vehicles they had added up until that point, I feel like.
No, I can't really think of any.
Also added more jobs and a lot of adjustments, game tuning, exploit fixes. I feel like this was like a really good. I honestly want to put it like I'm deciding if I want to put it in cool or just below that. I'm not really quite sure.
I'm not. I'd say decent.
Yeah,
I
like I feel
was
like
like
it wasn't as
going
good as High
toward.
Life.
I was going towards meh, but I think it might just be above that. So decent, I would say
Yeah,
it's fair
it
for it.
just gets decent purely because of the Panto. If it didn't have the Panto, it'd go to meh.
Panto carries. Right.
Panto carries.
No, lovely jubbly. Independence Day.
Good old the yeehaw that is
Yeah.
a continuous update now for this game for all the Americans.
Yeah. Woo.
This introduced a lot of really fun, another more like meme stuff. Like the musket and the firework launcher. The musket is the best fucking meme weapon. When you kill a tryhard with a musket, it is so funny.
Yeah, it's just like really. Come on, you got to spend like 10 seconds reloading the damn thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Firework launcher wasn't bad as well. That's sort of another meme one. You can still like knock people over.
yeah, exactly.
Um, yeah, got the like a monster truck, Vapid Liberator
Mhm.
in obviously Independence Day themed, uh, and the Western Sovereign, which is another sort of bike USA themed one, and just other sort of Independence Day themed stuff, hairstyles and face paints. Nothing really too interesting for any other person but Americans,
But for like
really.
a small little Independence update that was just released like literally a month after the I'm Not a Hipster update, I feel like that was a really nice update. Like you got a decent amount of stuff for just like a little fucking American holiday.
Yeah, but like past that, you don't really get anything else. Like, there's not really any new
No.
jobs for it. So I think it's got to be in the meh section. It wasn't really,
Yeah, unfortunately it suffers from just being a really small update, so it gave us what it could.
yeah.
I agree,
Uh,
meh.
Alright, next one is San Andreas Flight School. So that brought out obviously the flight school. Would you call them missions? They're not really missions.
I feel like the only way you can classify them as missions because they're what else do you call them? Challenges?
Yeah, I guess because there's like a timer and you get it in this time and you get a gold star. So
Mm-hmm.
guess it's challenges. Um, Other than that, yeah, we've got some more aircraft and the Coquette Classic Canal.
Love that car.
Um,
Introduced the Bezra,
that's
which
the
I
it's the
personally I really like the Bezra.
isn't the Coquette Classic the one with the where you could take the roof off?
Yeah, and it's like it was a super common car back in the day because when players bought the that Criminal Enterprise package, the Corvette Classic would come with it. That was one of my first vehicles I think that I owned in GTA Online, so it's like core memory for me. Important note as well, it also added new parachutes, and you could buy a parachute in the theme of your country, which I feel like a lot of players love doing, having like
Oh
their
yeah,
flag as their parachute. I have that, and I really like it. A good note though, good note is that payouts from contact missions were reduced in this update. So that is a
I
big con.
Yeah, I think that was the period, with Rooftop Rumble, and it would just give you like 36 grand. I think they did it so like if you finish it quickly, the money would be significantly lower in
Yeah,
comparison if
first
you
trend to
waited.
doing stuff like that. Hmm.
So that was a real stinker, huge stinker for people who were just grinding the game.
I feel like that
For
brings
that,
it down a lot, especially
it
because there wasn't really any other ways to make money besides those missions, really.
like I'd probably put it at a. I was gonna think putting it at a meh, but like honestly, I think it's a bad one, but especially for people who just like grinding the game. They're just
Yeah, I feel like I would put it in decent or meh, but because of that reduction in contact mission payouts, I feel like it. I agree with you. It goes below that just because of that reason, because that was a big hit.
yeah, real big fucking hit. Right, last team standing is the next one, and that was last team standing sort of adversary missions.
This introduced a very controversial weapon, the marksman rifle.
Yeah, I
A
forgot
lot
about
of
that.
tryhards to this day debate over it being too OP
Especially the
and
Mark II
complain about it.
version.
Yeah, exactly. It also introduced the heavy shotgun. Not a lot of memorable new vehicles besides, I would say, like the Shih Tzu Hakachu motorcycle, which is pretty cool. It wasn't a whole lot. It was Oh wait, it also added the last team standing mode,
Well, yeah, hence
and
the fucking the
well, yeah,
title of
hence
the
the name,
update.
obviously, but yeah, like, yeah, and it was added to the content creators, so
People
players
could
could
make it.
create their own custom last team standings. I feel like this was like the last team standing is quite.
Meh.
Yeah, but I feel like it brought a lot for players because it introduced a lot of fun modes like cars versus RPGs or like runners versus snipers when people could start creating their own kind of stuff. I feel like that
Yeah,
did a lot.
I think it's got to go in the same as content creator then.
Yeah, yeah, I'd agree with that.
Right, last one is the festive surprise of 2014. Oh shit, yeah, this is the one with the Homan rocket launcher, wasn't it?
Oh, that changed the game a lot. The homing
Yeah,
rocket launcher.
lock
That
onto
did a lot.
vehicles and shoot, even though it didn't really fucking wasn't really accurate,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah, like
it
the homing
fired
launcher
faster,
is
didn't it?
overtaken the RPG at the time. Like that was like everyone uses the homing launcher now. That's like one of the most used weapons now in the game.
And yeah, proxy mines as well. That's not bad for when you have bloody people coming after you.
Yeah, 100%. It was nice, like defensive way of going. I feel like that was a lot of good weapons that they added.
Other than this, it was just vehicles, isn't it? Rat truck. That was like a cheap, customizable sort of flatbed truck. Got the
Yeah,
slam van, the Massacro, which was not bad, and the Jester. The Massacro and Jester were quite good alternatives, but I would still pick a Zentorno over those two.
yeah. I feel like it's. I don't think it belongs in meh. I think it belongs in decent. Maybe meh. I'm kind of torn between the two.
Yeah, I think I'd go meh. Like, other than that,
Yeah,
well, you can
like
get
it's.
another property. Like you used to have two, and now you can get three. Um,
Yeah,
Other than that, it's not really. But I think really what makes it go into meh is hmm, the home and rocket launcher and the proxy mines really sort of push it up. Other than that, like take those two things out, and it wouldn't be as good.
yeah.
So
It'd
I
be a
think it
quite a forgettable
keeps it in
update.
meh. I
Yeah.
think. Right. Now we're going to move on to 2015, and this is the absolutely lovely game changing update that a lot of people love. heists. Completely
How can you
changed
not love this
everything.
update? This is like, I feel like anyone who doesn't put this update as like God tier or S tier, there's something wrong with them, or they're like 9 years old and they don't remember this update because this like
Yeah.
changed the game. It genuinely changed the game. It brought a whole bunch of new player base as well. Like GTA Online wasn't really as popular until that update came out, and then it kind of just blew up.
From a PvP perspective, we've got the Kuruma, the Insurgent, the Hydra, 3 vehicles which
Valkyrie,
and the Valkyrie as well. Like the Hydra nowadays, yeah, it's not really useful, but that cannon back in the day was quite accurate, and it can go VTOL. Not bad, not bad.
yeah.
I can't really think of any negatives for this.
There's
Like
no
the
negatives.
missions
It
were
was just like
fun. The
all around, just
weapon,
like
yeah,
yeah,
weapons were alright. Well, there was only one weapon, the flare gun, which is
still
still
very useful to
handy,
this day. Yeah,
and all the vehicles. So yeah, I gotta put this as God tier.
it's just yeah,
Absolutely
it's definitely top
amazing.
3 updates for me. There's everything that just not no negatives about that update at all.
Right, we got one of the first two-parters in this game, ill-gotten gains. I think that was just sort of another one that just adds more vehicles and patches and clothing items. The Osiris, Windsor, Virgo, Benefactor Sterling. Some vehicles which were quite good at the time, maybe not as useful anymore.
I feel like an
Um,
important note as well is this is the
uh,
update. Yeah, I think you know what I'm gonna say. This is the
yeah.
first update that introduced the gold variant of
Oh,
the Luxor and the Swift helicopter and plane, which was
absolutely
10
wank.
million at the time, which is it was like
Outrageous.
just like the dumbest thing they added into the game for the sake of
You could
I don't
literally
know.
just buy a normal Luxor and make it. Well, you couldn't at that time, but eventually you could buy a Luxor, go to your hangar in well, it's not gun running, is it? Smuggler's Run. In Smuggler's Run, you could just literally do that, and it wouldn't even be that
Yeah,
much. It'd be like
yeah.
20% of what you're paying for in that. They don't know what was going through their heads at the time, but for that, should it go into bad? Part one.
Like I'm looking at the weapons it had. The combat PDW is a hot pile of garbage, in my opinion, if you remember that gun.
Yeah, it was really just the clothing and the vehicles, really. But
Yeah, like I
it's
like the
kind of
vehicles,
hard
like
to
the
push it up.
Osiris. The Osiris and the Starling are definitely very, very nice vehicles. I really enjoy driving those around. But I don't think it was that amazing. I feel like meh or just below meh is what I'm trying to think of where I'd place
I
it.
think bad. I don't think these vehicles and the clothing can hold it up from
Yeah,
absolute
it doesn't have enough
stinkers.
good qualities. Like the other meh categories that we have for DLC have like some redeeming qualities. I don't think this doesn't really have enough to cut it, so yeah, bad.
Right. I mean, then part two was just after that. Was that a month later? That brought out some more interesting vehicles as well. T20, the Chino, which was a
Love the
muscle car,
T20.
Coquette
Ooh, those are all good
Blackfin,
cars.
Brawler. I think that was an off-roading one.
Yeah,
Dinker Vindicator. I don't remember that. I think that's a bike, isn't it?
yeah.
And a new boat. I think that was the first time they ever brought a new boat into the game.
They had a boat previous couple updates ago called the Speeder. Um, but yeah, this was
Speeder.
like probably like one of the
Can't think.
first new boats added.
Well, yeah, just another boat, as well as more clothing items.
I feel like it's better than the part one of the ill-gotten gains, but not by a lot. Like,
Yeah. At least they didn't have the buddy another gold vehicle.
yeah, it's like ridiculously
The
priced.
marksman pistol, isn't that the one-shot one? Sort of like the musket. That's another good meme
It's
one.
pretty strong. I don't think it one-shots, but it is like it kill quite quickly.
and the knuckle dusters and fake boxing
Yeah,
fist fight.
yeah.
So I think that just pushes it over into meh, but not by a lot. Right, next on the list, free mode events. So that brought out oh, was it? Did it bring out? No, it wasn't the armored truck. They took the armored truck out in this update, I'm pretty sure. And they brought out, it was like the beast. The beast go around, flying upside down, wheelies, missing cars challenge, those sort of things. They didn't really pay well. Was my only problem with it. Well, at least they were in free mode, and you didn't have to load in to do whatever it was. That's a benefit to it. I wouldn't say it was really interesting to be honest. Like, you had heists. You didn't really need to go and make like 5k for like 10 minutes of work.
Yeah, I guess it was just fun a little bit, I guess, but nothing really.
Yeah, I think I'd still put this in the bad.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you on that. But the free mode events, I feel like they introduced a lot of collaboration between players, kind of like the business battles did, where I like that it added that competitiveness to it.
But yeah, I would say bad is my overall opinion on it.
I don't think I don't agree with you there. Like, I'll put it in bad with you, but I feel like it's meh, but it's not above the other meh update titles. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'd put it behind all the other mehs, but I just wouldn't put it quite into bad.
Right. Lowriders. That brought
This was a good
out.
update.
Yeah, it was a good update. It brought out the Benny vehicles, didn't it?
Yeah, introduction of Bennies, like that changed the customization a lot because there wasn't major customization in the game up until that point for vehicles, and that was a huge game changer.
Quite expensive at the time, but it was still quite decent. Yeah, a limited amount of vehicles that you could heavily customize.
I'd say this update it was just fun. It was just fun.
Yeah,
It was fun
I'm trying to
lowriders,
remember
fun
the
missions.
missions. The missions weren't that bad.
They were quite fun.
Lamar in them.
It's been a while since I played them, but yeah, they were good.
So probably cool.
I think it belongs in cool, honestly, because it doesn't have any negative qualities. So I feel like I think it belongs there. And it added new anniversary modes, clothing, and also a note for the Bunnies Works where you could customize the hydraulics, the engines, the air filters, the interiors. That was pretty big. So, and it also introduced the machete, melee weapon,
and the machine pistol, but it's not as people don't really use it.
Crazy.
In contrast
crazy
to
important.
the AP pistol, the not combat SMG, the micro SMG. Halloween surprise. That was the one they brought out, the slasher.
I love the slasher. It's probably one of my favorite adversary modes on this game because it's
probably
so
the
fun.
funnest with other people in a party.
Yeah, it's only worth it with other people. But once you get a party of 8 into a party and just the pure terror that will unfold as you guys all hide in the dark, hiding away from your psycho friend that's gonna try and kill you with a shotgun. It's just I have so many good memories from that adversary mode. I feel like it was such a good addition to the game.
And it brought out some Halloween themed vehicles, the Frankenstrange and the Lurcher. They were quite unique, and they would take them away and then bring them back the next year. So there was only a limited time to grab them. But it was still quite good. But that's the thing. Does it belong in meh or decent?
Also introduced the flashlight, which I know isn't a super important weapon. But the flashlight, I feel
yeah, we already had flashlights on our guns.
But the people use it all the time in car meets and stuff to look at people's cars and
Yeah, you couldn't really like instantly kill someone with it. So I guess yeah, that I think probably meh again.
I wanna like almost just put it in cool just because of the slasher update because it doesn't have any negative qualities.
But eventually it gets sort of boring. I think it's probably fair to compromise and go decent.
Yeah, I can compromise. I'll put it in decent.
Executives and other criminals. This was quite a decent
It's a
one.
huge update.
Uh,
This was like again an update that once again like pushed the game forward to another tier, just like the heist update.
More unique properties as well. Stilt homes, so it's not just the standard apartments
Yeah,
that look all the same in every single building.
I love that they changed the interior of the Stilt Home apartments, and they had like that water. If you ever owned like the Stilt
Yeah,
Home
yeah,
apartments, but they had
yeah.
that
I know
waterfall
what
that
you
went
mean.
down the
Yeah,
stairs. I thought that was like so cool.
added quite a
Also,
lot
like
of just armored vehicles.
a lot of vehicles they added. They really went off, and we also got the heavy revolver and the switchblade, which I love the heavy revolver. Probably one of my favorite pistols to this day.
A lot more water vehicles as well.
This is also where they added the speedophiles, Speed Shark, which I love. Great name, by the way.
Yeah, it just added a little bit more for races as well.
Yeah,
For people just to use different vehicles or just use the best vehicle.
there was tons of content in this update. They added another adversary mode. They added new free mode events and challenges. They added the ability to form criminal organizations in free mode. Um,
With those challenges
Also,
as well.
this was a massive update, like almost
Yeah,
bigger than the OG heist update. And it
almost.
did a lot for the game. It did so much for the game.
It's either going to be cool or amazing for me.
I think it belongs in amazing, just because it was such a big update with just great positives to the game.
Right, and then we come on to festive surprise of 2015. Obviously added snow again, but it was like 2 weeks, wasn't it? 3 weeks of snow, which was better
Yep,
than just having like one
just
week
for
of snow or one
one day
day.
or 1 week. Yeah.
Um, the Tampa was added. That's like a muscle car.
Mhm.
Uh,
New adversary mode, Beast versus Slasher, which I don't really care much about that adversary mode.
but yeah, well, they were just adding stuff that they already had in, and just
Yeah,
combining it.
this was like a lot of just
Bad, but
return of previous stuff. Not a whole lot was added. A good note though is this was the first time I think they were adding Christmas trees to safe
especially
houses
in
in Legion Square.
yeah, in Legion Square, that big one,
Yeah, that was
and
quite
the music
iconic.
for it as well. I think this was also the time where they gave people like full snacks and armor, wasn't it?
I'm not sure completely, but I wouldn't be
I
surprised if
think
this was the
so.
first one. Yeah.
Pretty sure they did, but I could be wrong about that. For this, I think it's probably going to go in decent or cool. Like,
I think I put it in decent. I wouldn't say cool, but I'd say decent.
yeah, it was better, but yeah, probably not cool.
Yeah.
Right, 2016, the January 2016 update. That's what it's called for some reason. Added drop zone adversary, which is like
I
it's sort of like a defended area
yeah.
sort of thing.
It was like okay. I never really played that adversary mode a lot.
I
I never
played a
found
few
it
of them.
amazing.
It was just a unique way of like fighting for an area, and it wasn't like
This was like
capture the flag or anything.
I think this was again just a really tiny update. Like that just is not gonna compare as well to the bigger updates. And there wasn't really anything. It's just new clothing items in the adversary mode, and then like just like two vehicles. The oh, did add the Bravado Banshee 900R, which
Yeah,
is a
those
plus,
are benefiable. Those.
and the Sultan RS, which I know the car community loves that car.
Yeah, like it was only two, but two more Benny vehicles to still an outstanding collection.
I think
It's
it was
quite
just
good.
really. It was just like it was such a tiny update. I feel like it's just meh. Like,
Yeah, they,
you
they,
know,
they
if,
could have put it in with like a later update.
yeah, yeah.
So I think this is still sort of like a meh, probably borderline bad.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, Next is another Valentine one. It's Be My Valentine. Um, so it brought back the sweeper, the Tommy gun, and it brought out a new variant of the Roosevelt, the Valor one, which wasn't it where you can have more people on it, like two more people? I think so.
I think so. Yeah, this was like a lot of returning stuff, and then they had the new adversary mode till death do us part, and then they added more gangster themed clothing. It was a lot of like the same stuff returning, just slightly changed. I don't think in any means it was. It's
Amazing.
just like,
Yeah, I'd probably
yeah,
say
like,
it's in the bad section because it was just returning stuff and limited new stuff.
but I feel like there's no bad qualities per se. Like, I feel like it has to have something like I really don't like, something that I actually actively dislike to, because it was just a tiny little Valentine's update. So I don't like know if it deserves to be like bad, because I don't really think it's inherently bad. It's just forgettable.
Yeah, and that's why I sort of think it's bad because ever since heists, like they've set a limiter. Obviously, they've had all these little smaller updates, but
Yeah,
we've seen they can even do decent small updates. But for this is sort of like the first time where they just sort of not really put a lot of effort in. I know this is the
beginning of
period
the end.
where I know this is the period where they like do have a lot of content coming out every month, but
Yeah,
this is like kind of one of the ones that sort of drop below the bar in terms of smaller content. So either bad or meh. That's what I'd put it at.
I feel like put it like the end of meh. Like, put it meh, but behind all the other updates that are in meh. Like,
Yeah,
it just teeters that line. Like, if there's anything else that I could add that would be bad about this update by like a hair, I'd move it to the bad category.
yeah,
It
yeah.
just skims it.
Just holds on.
Yeah.
Next one is I think this is like an addition to the Lowriders update. It just adds more variants for vehicles to make them more benefiable. You know the Donk, which is not bad. Got the Slam
Mm-hmm.
Custom, the Tornado, the minivan, the
Oh,
Mobile.
I love the minivan custom. Great meme vehicle.
It's just a good addition for just like more selection, a fine addition to my collection of lowrider slash Benny vehicles.
Not a whole lot of like pretty forgettable weapons. Like, you don't ever see people use the double-barreled shotgun or the compact rifle that was added in this
but
update.
but those vehicles, just adding them as well as they added sumo. I didn't even realize the sumo was quite
Yeah.
a fun mode to play, and some
Not the
extra
sumo
clothing
remix, but
items.
yeah, the regular sumo, which
Yeah,
is like
superior.
set the groundwork.
Um, but yeah, more vehicles. I gotta say, this is either gotta be just indecent or meh again.
I think this is one of the first times where I agree almost exactly with you. Like, I feel like it's just in between those two categories.
Can you really think there's anything bad about it? I wouldn't say so. I think this is indecent, just about. For me.
Yeah, honestly,
personally.
just because of the minivan custom, it's just gonna make the cut for decent. If they didn't have
Just
the
for
minivan
you.
custom, I'd put it in meh. I'd put it in meh.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Right, next is Further Adventures in Finance and Felony, which
It's a big one.
brought. Yeah, it was another big one. Maybe not as big as the Criminals one, but still, it added the FMJ, what was it, that Ford GT, the Reaper, Windsor Drop,
Brigade.
Rumbo Custom, Brigade, another plane, Nimbus. Don't think anyone flies that. At least it wasn't a bloody gold one. Volatus.
Oh, and the tugboat. It also added the big, that big fat tugboat.
Oh yeah, the tugboat. Yeah, was used because this is the update with the warehouse CEO crates.
Yeah.
This
is a huge one because this is when you could start buying
crates.
Offices, warehouses, and then they would later expand, obviously, with the import-export DLC.
Yeah.
I feel like this did a lot for the game, and it was also technically it was the first business in the game, right? Am I right on that? Because the CEO warehouses.
A first official business. Like there was a lot of business themed updates, but nothing was like this.
This is the first like
size.
free mode, like
yeah,
business
first,
basically.
Yeah. You buy crates and then you sell them for more.
And crates
really
did a lot for the game, you know.
Expanded the grinder fan base in this game.
It did. It introduced a whole different, I feel like, grinding player base to the game, and I feel like it's really what made GTA like a grinder focused game. That update like pushed it a lot in that direction.
Yeah. So I think is it amazing though? It's definitely cool, but is it the amazing tier?
I feel like this did so much, and it set the tone for so many future updates, and I love the offices, I love all the vehicles and stuff they added. Just the ability to buy the warehouses, and like you actually feel like you're like this big criminal that's smuggling all these crates and having these massive warehouses. I feel like it just belongs in amazing. Like just a little bit. I don't think it belongs in cool, I think it belongs in amazing.
Yeah, fair enough. Next is Cunning Stunts. That was all these stunt races, wasn't it?
A lot of new vehicles as well.
The races were quite fun. I do like it, and a lot of was it super or sports sort of themed vehicles. The ETR one, RE7B, Tyrus, sort of a few sort of rally themed ones. The Tropos, the trophy truck. They weren't bad.
There's still a lot for like people who are into racing on this game, because it took it to a whole new level. Racing wasn't really
racing and just
that
sort
crazy.
of the car community in general.
Yeah, I feel like it brought in the car community a lot.
Yeah, it just released a lot of classic vehicles.
Yeah.
So I think it's got to be either cool or decent.
I think it belongs in cool. I think that it's above decent. It did a lot for the game, and I still enjoy playing. Like, I'm not even a racer on this game, but I still like playing stunt races to this day. They're fun.
Yeah. Here's another big one. Only, well, it was just released in October, and the finance was in June. So only, like, 4 months or so, Bikers. Bikers was another
big
banger.
Update. A lot of vehicles. I'm just gonna actually look over this list here.
A lot of bikes.
A lot of classic bikes. The Chimera, which I still use to this day. Ooh, the Faggio mod.
Yes.
In the Faggio Sport, the Hakachu Drag. Also like those classic biker vehicles, like the zombie bobber, the zombie chopper. Also introduced items, tattoos, weapons, and the ability to purchase clubhouses, and obviously all of the motorcycle club businesses, which were huge at the time.
Yeah. Cocaine. What's the list goes? Is it cocaine, meth, counterfeit, weed, and then documents? Is that the
Yeah,
top
yeah, that's
five?
right. Yep.
Uh, what was
I'm
the weapon?
honestly,
Was it compact grenade launcher? That wasn't
you know,
bad.
it doesn't say for me. I don't have a list that
It
says
it,
specifically what
it, sho- it shows
weapons.
it in the promotional picture, the compact grenade launcher. So I think it did.
Okay, so 100% then.
It wasn't as good as the grenade launcher, but still.
It was nice though because you could use it from your vehicle,
Yeah,
and
yeah, on your bike.
you know, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I think this is another amazing one. Not
Yeah, like
quite god tier.
I almost want to put it in God tier, but it just doesn't. It's not the same as like the OG heist update in like that same
Yeah.
God tier level, but definitely amazing. Great update. There's nothing bad I can really say about it. It just did a lot, and once again, it reinforced that grinder community mentality with the introduction of all these businesses, and it was also the first passive businesses that were added to the game.
Yeah, yeah, and also fucking started the people fucking finding solo lobbies or leaving the session every time they get bloody raided.
Yeah, yeah. Did a lot for the game, and this was at a time too when it was a bit harder for players to grief because we didn't have to worry about Mark twos or Deluxes or anything at the time.
Well, just a tank or a laser, really.
Yeah, that was like your biggest threat at the time.
Yeah. Moving on, straight after this update, another banger one. Maybe not as good as it, but import export. Personally, this is the sort of like period where I start to remember a lot more onward now because import export I played this the most.
Yeah,
Just stealing vehicles. Obviously, yeah, it was attached onto finance and felony. Stealing vehicles, selling them from profit. A very good solo-friendly business, so you don't have to get any other people on.
also, I feel like this was, if not one of the best, if not the best, update specifically just for vehicles. I mean, obviously it's a vehicle update, but just like the stuff they added to it was so creative and so cool, and a lot of it's all still used this day. Like just as an example, the LG Retro Custom, the ramp buggy, the Rocket Voltic, the Ruiner was added. Not the weaponized version though, if I remember right. I think it was just normal Ruiner. Also added
No, Ruiner
Technical
2000 is the weaponized one.
Okay, never mind. So yeah, they did add the weaponized one. They also added the Technical Aqua, the Wastelander, Blazer Aqua.
Yeah, this is the one where they brought in the VIP work, where you could use the fully loaded Ruiner Phantom
Right. Oh,
Wedge.
that's a good bonus too. Was yeah, this is where they added the VIP work and just like so many good uh vehicles and the vehicle warehouse. What a great business at the time.
Yeah, like and as well as the free mode missions you could do, there was these what are they called, special vehicle work, yeah, and you had to
Yep.
do these missions with the say like the Ruiner or the Phantom Wedge to get a discount on it, and
I feel like
it's quite good.
an
I enjoyed
important
them.
important note as well is this was like the first time they added a solo friendly business because up until that point, I mean, yeah, you could grind crates by yourself, but you needed friends to help you sell. And
Same
like there
bikers
wasn't like
as
a
well.
lot of solo friendly businesses because you needed people for heists, you needed people for MC businesses. Like this was the first time I feel like they added something that you could just totally grind by yourself without help from other people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say that this is the first one. This is definitely the first one. It also brought out more Benny vehicles. The Nero Custom, the Comet
Love that one.
Retro Custom. I don't think there was any other Benny ones. Oh yeah, the Spectre Custom. Three sort of
All really
supercar
good
ones
Benny vehicles.
that you can make into Benny vehicles.
I feel like this was my favorite
Oh no,
update
no,
for
there
vehicles
was
so
5
far.
actually. The Italia GTB and the Pegassi FCR. So
Yeah,
5
yeah.
actually. 5 Meta 5 vehicles, which just even more amazing things to add to this update. Um, for the list, I think this is going to be amazing. Again,
I agree with you. I think that once
this
again
is
it's
like,
an amazing update.
excluding cunning stunts, it's back to back to back amazing updates. Absolutely amazing year for 2016. And import export just tops it off that end of the year. So much
It
to
did a
do in the
lot
game
for the
now.
game. Mhm.
Yeah, amazing. Right, 2017. Another cunning stunts one. This is special vehicle circuit. Basically just brought out more stunt races. It brought a lot of the vehicles from import export, like the Rocket Baltic, into races.
Yeah, a lot of fun new updates with like those customizable like Rocket Baltic races. Those are really fun races. I really changed it up a lot, and the Blazer Aqua, even that was, I honestly, I still enjoy those races too. Pretty small update, but very
Obviously,
fun.
I wouldn't play it if it wasn't double or triple, but it was still quite fun.
Yeah, it's fun to do with friends and goof around.
GP1 was also introduced. That's another good supercar. Maybe not the best at this point in the game, but other than that, it was a decent little update. Just once again, mainly focused on the racing community and the car community.
Mhm.
I think this has got to be cool again with cunning stunts.
I agree. I think it belongs in cool.
Right. So the next major one was gun running. That was the bunker stuff. Another good
This was a
solo one.
huge update again.
Well,
Yeah.
solo slash multiple people one.
And this is too, like, did they already have the research included as well? Where they, and this is where also, this is a big one too, they added the Mark II weapons.
This is the point where they brought out the Oppressor Mark I, which sadly inspired them to make the Mark II.
This update, I feel like, it inspired a lot of big changes for the game, and it set the tone for what was to come in the future.
It made ground and air combat a lot different. Like you had the explosive sniper rounds.
Yeah, it really changed the free mode.
MOC cab with those cannons were quite alright. Mark II weapons, obviously. The business was good, solo or with other people. Vehicle wise,
Bunker
it wasn't
2
bad.
is...
It wasn't bad with the vehicles. The Night Shark, the Cheetah Classic, Wagner, Torero, the pickup custom that you could obviously have it as a personal vehicle instead of a Pegasus one. So I think this is going to be an amazing category.
Okay, honestly, like this is where I'm gonna argue that I feel like it almost belongs in God tier, because this is one of my favorite updates in the game. And
there isn't really a lot of negatives, is there really?
No, and it's like the bunker is still one of the best businesses in the game to this day. It makes great money. The introduction of the research, I love that they added like the research, and you had to like slowly unlock all these cool things, and it felt like I was really motivated to like unlock all this cool stuff.
Yeah, like it really made you think like, do you want to research or make money or sort of do both?
Yes, and so many W vehicles, just like back-to-back W vehicles. The Wagner, the Cheetah, Insurgent Pickup Custom, Night Shark. Night Shark was huge. The
only thing I would argue
awesome
is those
vehicle.
last two vehicles, the Ardent and the XA21. I'm pretty sure they were two stinkers. They weren't crazy, but
yeah, but you could argue that like the OG Heist update had some stinker vehicles.
True.
But it's still God tier. And it's just like the Mark II weapons really just what this update did for free mode was revolutionary. It changed free mode forever, and it brought out this whole new era of PvP in the game.
Yeah, and if you didn't have the certain weapons and stuff, you'd get kecked. So it like made combat like a lot more strategic.
Yeah,
In a
it
sense.
really, like, I feel like it's...
I think, I might have to agree with you, like,
yeah.
God tier, there isn't really a lot except that Ardent being a bloody B-Tech bloody ruined the 2000.
Yeah, it was
God tier.
just such a good update. It did so much for the game. Yeah, God tier.
Right, we'll move on to Smuggler's Run. Now, at the time, I wouldn't say this is the best.
This is kind of an update that aged better with time because, from a grinder's perspective, because you and I are both grinders.
Yeah.
For the longest time, the hangar was the worst business in the game because you needed friends to help you source multiple crates. The friends got no rewards, and then it took hours to fill up, just like the CEO warehouse.
And you didn't even get enough money at the time. Yeah, the money was just awful. Fucking awful.
The one redeeming quality, which is a really big bonus, was all of the planes they added.
Yes,
the planes they added really just
planes, just all of the vehicles,
revolutionized
really.
the skies. Yeah.
It made combat.
This is where the Pyro came out, Starlane,
the Rogue.
Yeah.
The Seabreeze.
Love the Seabreeze.
Personal aircraft hangars. It just completely.
That was huge, because there was nothing really in the sky besides lasers.
Yeah, and Hydras. Revolutionized combat.
Yeah, this was a huge update. I feel like this is like one of the first ones where there's a lot of stuff I don't like and a lot of stuff I do like.
But yeah, this one definitely gets better with time. So I'm wondering like what sort of point we should.
I feel like we should consider how the update was when it was released, but also we should consider how it is now. You know, like I feel like when it was released, if the hangar was as good as it was now, I would consider this like an amazing update. But because it wasn't that good, I feel like it belongs below amazing.
Yeah, if we're thinking about it like how it was, because it was not that good at the start, so yeah, I would say cool.
Yeah, I think it belongs in cool. If you take away all the amazing vehicles and hangars they added, it would be like a bad update, but those vehicles were just so amazing.
It definitely keeps it above.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Right, Doomsday.
This is a very controversial update. I feel like it depends on who you ask.
Personally,
everyone feels differently.
If you don't think it from the mastermind perspective that we've done, it's all right. It's just fun missions, even though the AI is incredibly overpowered. I would say they're accurate to absolutely fucking ridiculous amounts. You can die instantly. There's still bugs in the game for it. The heist missions were fun. Other than that, the vehicles, the Kunjali tank was good. Cooler, stealth helicopter, good. Stromberg, that was good.
A lot of weaponized vehicles. This is the first time where players started complaining about the updates because of the very controversial add of things like the Deluxo, which at the time,
I forgot about the Deluxo.
Yeah, that ruled the skies. That was like the people fucking hated that thing when it came out. It was the Presser Mark II before the Mark II.
So accurate.
Yeah, it's still like, even now it's like the king. It's one of the best vehicles in PvP on this game.
Yeah, like I would debate the Stromberg would be able to duel it.
Stromberg was a huge addition at the time. The Thruster was a huge addition. There was a lot of big vehicles they added. The control, like this is again, I feel like something that changed free mode a lot with all the introduction of these heavily weaponized offensive vehicles.
Yeah, the Deluxo is definitely salt in the wound for this update. Definitely.
It was the beginning of the trend of the futuristic vehicles. But I feel like also we have to look at the heist itself. The heist and the storyline were fucking awesome. I loved Clifford. I loved
the jokes.
Avon. You know, it's probably some of the best writing this game's ever had. And it's always really fun to play, and it's still to this day I think one, if not the most challenging content the game has ever added, because no other AI really is as powerful in this game as the Doomsday enemies.
Yeah, especially with that glitch where they can dump an entire fucking magazine into you in 1 second. So, what?
Yeah, and it's just like the heist itself. Like, yeah, like they paid like okay, it wasn't anything amazing, but at the time it was quite good. Also, it was the introduction of the trend of the Bogdan back-to-back, where people played the Act 2 over and over again. But that's not in relation, I feel like, to the rating of the update, because that's...
Yeah, it's just a shitty little glitch that they're too lazy to patch.
I just feel like there's so many good qualities in this update. Like, yes, it added the Deluxo and it, you know, a lot of like griefing vehicles, but I feel like it belongs in Amazing.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. Like, the positives do outshine the negatives, even though the negative is still quite a big problem.
Yeah.
Right, where I would say we're about halfway there.
Or 2018, right?
Yeah, 2018. We're about halfway there. This is the beginning of when the updates start to sort of shrivel up and become just big updates.
Bit of a toss-up. Yeah.
Bit of a toss-up, a little bit disappointing, but then it gives them time to make a huge update and just have more content instead of dropping out little ones throughout the whole year.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But I think this is one of the last, I probably wouldn't say last, but one of the last mini updates is the Southern San Andreas Super Sport series. Sort of more racing about like hot ring tracks. I think transform races. Transform races sort of were added. Had that
hot ring saber races were introduced.
That car with the turret, and you have to shoot these targets. You had like I'm pretty sure it was like transform races. Bringing a lot of the newer content vehicles into races.
Yeah.
It weren't bad. Other than that, I didn't really play much of this update, but Hot Ring was sort of fun.
Yeah, a lot of it was like a really, like a lot of positives. There wasn't really anything negative about this update. It didn't impact the game like as much as other updates. I feel like it belongs in cool.
Yeah. I would agree as well. Like, it is definitely better than a lot of the earlier updates, as this being a smaller update. So yeah. But it's got to be at the tail end. It's not as good as the other Cunning Stunt ones, but it still belongs in the category.
Yeah.
Here's another controversial one. After Hours. Yes. The dreaded Mark
Wifely
II.
hates this update.
Our friend fucking despises this update. But since we're a lot more level-headed, let's break it down. So obviously we have the nightclubs, another passive business. It only really worked though if you had all of the other businesses unlocked. So then you use those technicians.
An important note for this update was it was the first time that paywalls were introduced, because it was kind of the first time where you had to own things to get new things, because it introduced the whole paywall of, to get the Mark II, first you had to buy the nightclub, then you had to buy the Terabyte, then you had to do the Terabyte drone missions or whatever, then you had to get the upgrade in the Terabyte, and then you could get the Oppressor Mark II and get the missiles on it. Like, it was a lot of
work.
Like, this was the start and the end for a lot of paywalls.
The gun running was sort of the beginning of that, because they had a lot of stuff locked behind research, but
It wasn't
still,
like bad, it was still like,
yeah, it
yeah,
wasn't
I
as
see your
bad,
point.
but this like progressed it to make it like
This made it
even
much
worse.
worse. Um, I would say, okay, so first off, the nightclub, just as a business, amazing business, best passive business in the game. You know, like
But only
I
if
love.
you have all the other businesses, because if you don't have them, you
Mhm.
can't get a lot of the product to sell.
Yeah, there's a lot of new players who just go ahead and buy a nightclub first, and then they wonder why they don't make any money, and
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
well, that's why.
Exactly.
um, Also, just like the nightclub itself, you know, I loved the return of Gay Tony. I like that they brought him back. I like that you know, the popularity missions were fun.
Just like
The
a
DJ missions.
1980s sort of themed update, and it just
Yeah,
made the game feel a little bit more alive.
yeah,
Like
and
there's
it
a lot
was
more
fun that you
stuff
could
going on.
customize the crap out of your nightclub. A lot of customization options, you know, and it was fun to like invite players to your nightclub and just like it was a really cool concept. Just the nightclub itself as a business, I love that.
Yeah, it did. It did. This was the point where they started bringing out like these little events that you do, like the stone hatchet.
All right, yeah, because this was when around they were gearing up to release, or no, Red Dead 2 had just come out, so yeah,
Yeah,
there were certain stuff like that.
they brought the stone hatchet out, and that's still quite a useful weapon for like a sort of like a BST sort of ability
Yeah,
when you kill
yeah,
someone.
100%.
The vehicles weren't bad, like 80s themed, like I said. The one
I'm just
vehicle
looking
I
at what they
do like
added.
is the Strike Force. I love the Strike Force, and I used it all the time at this point of the game. It can go against anything and have a high chance of winning. Like the laser would still probably win, but that Strike Force had a better turn radius than it.
It was huge for the game. It was, yeah, at the
But
time, it
obviously, you can
was
make a
best
point about
dogfighter in the game.
the Starling, but
You
then
could.
the guns on that are shit.
But the thing, like, if Starling and B11, if both the pilots are peak pilots and go up against each other, the fight's just gonna last forever. The only chance the Starling really has is to machine gun out the B11 because it's so armored.
Or at least like get a rocket hit, but that's gonna be like a lucky rocket hit.
Yeah. The only advantage is that the B11 is much bigger, so it's easier to free aim with a rocket compared to with the Starling. It's the tiniest plane in the game.
Yeah. Even with the Mark II being in this update, I think this still belongs in amazing. There's still so many good things about this, but then that one blemish does really like hurt the update.
Yeah, like I feel like a lot of people are gonna disagree with us for putting this in amazing, but I honestly agree with you. Like, I understand that the Mark II was like when this update came out, I still remember how controversial it was. I vividly remember just how hateful people were over this Mark II. Like there was nonstop just videos being made about how overpowered it was, and I do agree with that. I do agree, but when you look at everything else with the nightclub, it's amazing. And you have to look at now too what they've done to the Mark II. It's been heavily nerfed compared to what it was then.
Its wings have been clipped. The missiles are next to useless against air targets, but on the ground you can still make an argument
Still
that
pretty
it is still
good.
good. But it has
I'd
been
say like
neutered heavily.
I feel like an important note that I just can't ignore is just this was the beginning of the God mode Speedo era.
Oh yeah. It's like really
like,
where tryhards like got big.
Yeah, it's just I know it's a bug and like technically it doesn't count, but it's just the fact that Rockstar took like 5 years to fix this God mode Speedo, and it plagued free mode for years, and it was so annoying. And it was just such a freaking headache. That was like a big con for me, was just their refusal to fix that Speedo in the game for so many years, and it was just such a headache to go up against.
But yeah, other than that, it was a solid update.
Now that I'm thinking, I don't even know. Like, I feel like it, like, yeah, put it in amazing, but I feel like noted just barely. Because, like, If it had one more negative quality, I'd almost put it down to cool.
Yeah, I think it just survives.
Just makes it amazing.
Right, here's another controversial one, but I think, well, according to our other friend Roy, but Arena War, I don't like it.
This was honestly the first update where I genuinely believe it was just bad.
The vehicles were, yes, there was a lot of vehicles, lots of customization, but how much fucking money are you gonna spend on some vehicle and you don't even get to keep the upgrades if you
The
decide to
variants,
switch?
yeah.
You've got these variants, 3 variants. What was it? Post-apocalyptic, nightmare,
Futuristic.
futuristic.
Yep.
You would spend easily like what, 20 mil, maybe more, probably
There
more
was
to be honest.
actually a couple years ago, I remember I watched a video on the professional, and every update he always buys everything, like all the vehicles and properties, and he did a huge rant on this update, I remember, because it's to this day the most expensive update if you want to buy everything. And I remember him saying that for the vehicles alone, I'm just paraphrasing, I don't remember the exact number, but I'm pretty sure he spent I think it was 150 million on all of the Arena War vehicles to fully upgrade them all. Like, that is
Why?
ridiculous. That is
It's not
ridiculous.
worth it. Other than the vehicles, well, not all of the vehicles in that update were shit. A lot of the drip-fed vehicles were decent.
Yeah.
A lot of them were muscle cars, so...
Like, some vehicles were cool. Like, I liked the Sasquatch. That was a nice vehicle. I liked that big flamethrower truck thing. You know, there was good redeeming qualities about the vehicles, but yeah, just way too overpriced and behind paywalls.
Like, this was the point as well where they brought out the Bandito.
Oh yeah, that's a controversial
Yeah,
addition.
I do like it.
I like it, but
And there
I
was
believe it
glitches
has to
for
get
it though.
nerfed. There's a lot of
Yes,
glitches. There was where players could teleport with it. There was
you could be invincible.
uh, you can be invincible. You could go around with the Bandito and throw sticky bombs. Like
You still
this
can.
was a very buggy vehicle. Yeah, you still can. And just like my biggest problem with the Bandito is I think it's a fun vehicle because it's nice to like troll, but the issue is like the way people use it, because some people just spam it constantly because the cooldown is only 1 minute.
Yeah, it's got to be at
I
least 5 minutes. Got to
I
be.
would go longer. I feel like if to balance out that Bandito, I think personally it should be 15 minutes to use it.
Quite harsh, but yeah, it has to be increased, definitely. Because yeah,
Yeah,
people
there's
just
definitely
spam
a
it,
problem,
especially
especially like
with the RC tank,
yeah, that's what I was
which
supposed to
comes
just say
later
because
on.
yeah, because yeah, like if you want to be a bitch and you're fighting someone, all you have to do is just cycle between your RC vehicles and go back and forth to get cheap little kills, and players do that all the time, and it's so frustrating when you want to just fight someone and they keep going into their little RC vehicles non-stop.
Now, is there really anything else? Oh, this is another one with paywalls,
Yes,
reputation
huge
levels,
paywalls.
paywalls.
Also, the level up system was widely hated, which I agree with, because when you were ranking up in the Arena War, all of the rank ups were randomized, so you didn't know if you'd unlock like just a fucking t-shirt or if you'd unlock a trade price for a really expensive vehicle. So if there was a vehicle you really wanted, you couldn't really ever get the trade price because it was entirely randomized.
Yeah, it just like I wouldn't even say the missions were that enjoyable, to be honest. Like, they were unique, quite fun at times, but still just not that incredible in terms of
The Arena War missions were like
all the
they were
other things we
fun,
had.
but the payouts are just the
And the
worst in the
payouts, yeah.
game. Like the amount of money you pay for all of these really big expensive vehicles, you're putting millions millions and millions into this business, and the payouts you get from the missions are horrible. And
Should be at
to this
least
day now,
50
if
grand a
you,
minimum.
yeah, and if you go to this day and you try and play Arena War, no one's playing those missions. You will not find a match. You'll have a very hard time.
Only if
Mm, maybe some
they
luck if
are,
it's triple.
yeah, double, triple, people will play them.
Yeah, yeah. It's just the only good quality, I'd say the best quality about this update was purely just the addition of the up and atomizer.
Oh, yes. That atomizer was so helpful just in any situation. Like if you're stuck behind a wall that you can't jump over, cars flipped over, stuck in like some bloody cramped little area. If a
Yeah,
boat's beached itself,
this was
just
like a saving grace. This
yeah,
weapon is probably like the most useful weapon you can buy for yourself in this game, just because yeah, the amount of times I've been driving a post-op during a cell mission and I get it stuck and then like beforehand it was just like, oh, well, I guess I'm screwed. There goes my cell mission. But now with the up and atomizer, you could just use the up and atomizer, get the van out of that position, and you'd save the cell mission.
exactly. But does that single weapon save this update from flopping all the way? Well, not all the way to the bottom, but near the bottom.
Well, what's below bad?
Below bad is Moody Man.
It's not Moody Man. I don't think it's meh. It doesn't deserve meh. I think it's just bad.
Yeah, I gotta agree. It's like top of the bad, but it's bad.
Yeah, yeah. Just it was
Like,
a lot and
what else?
ugh.
It was like the Widowmaker, and what's that Gatling gun? Was that the Widowmaker?
Oh, yeah, that was the one, and then
Oh,
the Hellbringer.
Unholy Hellbringer. Yeah, like
Yes.
they
Yep.
weren't. Well, laser was good, but
Those were the beginning of the end. Those are like the go-to noob weapons nowadays. You see every single noob in free
oh
mode
yeah, you don't
using
need a
that.
level to get them. You just get them straight away.
Yeah. I will say though, the Widowmaker is the superior minigun.
Yeah, it probably is a little bit faster, but if you're bombing someone, you light yourself
Oh,
up
they
like a
stick out like a
Christmas
sore
tree.
thumb. Yeah, that is the one con. You are more visible, but it has much better accuracy and fire rate. Much improved fire rate from the minigun.
Yeah. Now, I think this point onwards, it's just like 2 updates a year.
That's right. Yep.
But this year was quite good because it brought the casino out. So the first part, Diamond Casino and Resort, obviously it introduces the casino. It brought those casino missions and the casino work after you finish those missions. A lot of vehicles. Lots of clothing as well.
A lot of good positives from this update, and I am biased too because I have a lot of good memories from when this update came out. This is really when I hit my stride on this game and I started playing it really, really consistently. And it's around the time I joined LXG and like when I started becoming really good friends with Roy and Wifely and just kind of
Yeah.
building a community on GTA. So I loved it because I had a lot of great memories with friends playing this update. The story missions, I loved the storyline. It was fun. I liked the Duggans, Mrs. Baker. There's so many memes that come from it, like Tom whatever going, champagne anyone?
Yeah.
Vincent.
It did bring Vincent back in the future. So like even though
Yeah.
he was gone at the end of it, they did bring him back, even if it was
Vincent's a
just for a
W.
cameo.
He's one of like my
Um,
favorite GTA Online characters. So
the
underrated.
vehicles, there was a lot of vehicles and clothing.
Huge amounts. This is also where they introduced the iconic spin the wheel, the daily
Yeah.
wheel spin, which everyone still goes to. The
Oh, yeah, it's free.
penthouses, which were like a nice little flashy customizable thing. It's just like a luxury update, It kind of felt like the extended update of like that, that heist, not the heist, the apartments, the fancy apartment update from like a couple years
Yeah,
back. This felt like a huge expansion to that.
yeah. The only problem I have with it is just I wish there was more, just a little bit more content.
Really, I feel like it was a lot of content, like a whole new building, the gambling stuff, all the games, the slots.
It just feels like there's something missing. And I don't know exactly like to pinpoint it, but yeah, clothing, vehicles. I think just like the missions were just lacking slightly.
I feel like this feels a lot like a two-parter update, and I feel like what you mean by what was missing, I feel like is almost like it needed that business, which it later got, that
Yeah.
really it really like enhanced the update so much more, which we're going to talk about that update later, but um yeah, honestly, overall, for me personally, I think this is an amazing update.
Um. So yeah, it's either cool or amazing for me. Like it's still good, but I'm not sure. I think I would just go amazing because what it brings after this update makes it even
It
better.
sets it up. Yeah, it
Yeah.
sets up the stage, and yeah,
Yes.
it just like so many memes, like the fucking I feel like the community really came together for this update. Just the memes with it, and
It's really
also the
where the GTA sort of hit its peak, I would
yeah,
say.
yeah, and also what's his name? The Valor what's his what do you call it? The guy outside who chauffeurs your cars. Why am I having a brain fart? What's it
um,
called again? The Valor something? Valerie? Is it Valerie?
I think so.
I feel
Yeah,
like
the
I'm
guy.
having a
Yeah,
stroke. I don't know why I don't remember this, but I
yeah,
love
the
just.
guy who stands
You remember the
outside.
memes about that guy? You remember the memes? All the memes
Yeah,
that came from him? Because it was like tradition that you always just fucking murdered that guy every time you went in, and it later became a
run him
joke in
over.
like the next update. Like
Yeah.
that was a classic.
Right now, personally, my favorite update in the entire game, the casino heist,
This was a big one,
the
and I feel
best
like right away,
heist
I feel like we
off
just
the
have to
bat.
say that this is probably god tier for both of us.
Yeah, I think straight away I'm just gonna put it up there. It is the best update we've had in this game at this point. Um, it's just so much detail and like scoping out and picking which approach you want to go.
Hmm.
Um, this is probably where I made the most of my money on this game.
Yeah, just it was at the time when it came out, it was the best paying thing in the game. It changed the way people grinded. It also revolutionized the heist layout because just the addition of being able to do all of your preps in free mode. You only had to go into a lobby for the finale, um, and also the preps were fun. They changed for there was just the amount of options you had, like the fact that you could take different approaches, different preps, optional vehicles. Like I just love the choices they gave you.
Yeah, just a ton of changes, changes and choices to this
Yeah.
update.
I also love
And
that Lester returned. I loved his little storyline with the Chinese woman.
yeah,
Like
yeah, and like I don't
Jimmy came back.
yeah, and also just arcades as well. Like many people might not
So fun.
really get like involved with the whole back parts. All the games that you can play on those arcade machines, quite fun.
Yeah, that was huge. So much effort put into this update. Like it just felt so rich of content. It just really felt I felt like the developers of this update were really passionate about what they were doing. Like they really had a vision and they went with it and they
Yeah,
nailed it.
and it's definitely what was missing with the first part. This all of it together makes it the best part of this game. You can
Yeah.
easily make money. Um, Vehicles were good. Just new set of characters. It was funny.
Yeah.
Vehicles, clothing, etc. Weapons. It's a
Just
solid
also
update. God tier
just
update.
also the replayability. Gosh, the
Oh
replayability.
yeah,
Just like you didn't get tired of it because the missions were so different. They all felt so fresh. You know, like it didn't like it was fun. It was fun to grind, and like to this day, it's still one of the best ways to make money on this game. And it was huge for this game. And an important note as well was this was the first update that introduced a nerf to the Mark II oppressor for the first time.
Was that the missiles, wasn't it?
Not the missiles. This was the first time they added the cooldown to the oppressor Mark II, the 5-minute cooldown.
Yeah.
And they also changed passive popping in this update. Do you remember before where you could just instantly passive pop just like that?
Yeah, isn't it? If you kill someone, you have to wait like a few minutes, or is it the part where you can't
too?
Passive into when you're in a weaponized vehicle? So that
is, yeah, all those things. So you couldn't go passive in a weaponized vehicle. You had to wait a couple minutes, and also the passive pop method was kind of abolished because you instantly had a 30-second timer, so you knew if someone got in like a jet, for example, and they're in passive mode, you knew you had exactly 30 seconds to get into position to kill them as soon as they come out of passive with it. Whereas before, they could get in the jet, follow you around in passive mode, and then just wait for the moment when you're caught off guard and kill you. It was really annoying.
Even though it wasn't like completely ruled out the passive mode pop-in, it was still effective as people wouldn't just immediately go passive while in a jet. Like, people still go passive mode, go to wherever their jet is, get in it, wait for the 30 seconds to go down, and then
But it's much more predictable. You can predict a lot more. Also, too, just going back to the Mark II, like, if you remember, I don't know how well you remember what PvP was like before they added that nerf, but before it was exhausting the way players just spammed the oppressor Mark II. Every 2 fucking seconds.
Get it. Zoom. Yeah, it's just fucking irritating. It ruined fighting.
Yeah, you kill them, they're Mark II, and then immediately they would just spawn a new one, and they'd spawn a new one, it was like just killing a mosquito over and over and over again that just wouldn't die. And it was probably, in my opinion, the most frustrating part of the Mark II, and when they finally added that cooldown, it felt like the Mark IIs in free mode just went down so much and became much more easier to fight people in free mode with Mark IIs.
Yeah.
If I remember right, was this also the update too, where they changed, where if you just, they took away paying money for destroying players' militarized vehicles?
I don't think they took it away entirely, but I think they nerfed it, so you only have to pay like $2,000 or whatever. $2,000.
I can't quite remember. I mean, we're speaking off old memory, but I'm pretty sure this was the update where you no longer had to pay, like if you destroyed a Mark II, you normally had to pay 10 grand. This is the update where they introduced where you didn't have to for any weaponized vehicle.
Or it was limited.
Yeah. So I could be wrong on that, but that is also another bonus. It's just back-to-back W's with this update. Like, if there was an option above God tier, I would just put it above God tier a bit.
Yeah. But this year was definitely a good arc in GTA's little story.
Peak GTA, in my opinion, was 2019.
But the year after wasn't as bad. I know we start off with the summer special, and that was probably the most one of the shitiest shites I've seen in the past 2 years, to be honest.
It was okay. I liked that they attempted to add more to the yachts with the yacht missions.
They tried to go back to the style they had in like between 2013 and 2017-18, where it's like this little tiny update and little bits and bobs every month. But the thing is, they've got into this cycle of 2 updates a year, so it just, for me, it kind of flopped.
I feel like, okay, like in defense though, to play the devil's advocate, they did put in the notes of this update when it came out, yes, this is a tiny update, but that's because we're working on the biggest update this game has ever seen, which later came on with the KO Perico afterwards. So they really held off on this update because they're focusing all their staff on KO.
it felt like an excuse though. Like, I know coronavirus was sort of in in the
As when it's
moment,
in its peak was this update,
yeah,
yeah.
but it just sort of felt like an excuse.
I feel like it was a good enough excuse though. I feel like it's justified that because yeah, KO was a huge update. The fact you get an entire island. I mean, we'll get into that later, but um, it's just yeah, they did a lot. It also just this is where also they added the open wheel races. I believe this is where they
Yeah,
added
I
the
do like the F1 races.
PR4.
Yeah,
All the different those racing vehicles were huge for the car community. They added
and
6 new
some,
Benny's
yeah,
vehicles.
those Benny vehicles that came out after weren't too bad, but I just feel like they could have added a lot more to it.
I feel like it was just it was an unfortunate timing because
Yeah,
it's in the middle of all these other amazing updates, and it's just like there's all these amazing updates that are like back to back, and then there's just this like meh one right in the middle. So
yeah,
I feel like it affects the way we see it.
and obviously, yeah, COVID, but it just feels they could have done a little bit more at least.
Yeah, yeah. I I don't think it's bad. I feel like it's
I
just
would
meh.
say decent, probably.
I could go up to decent. Yeah, yeah, I could compromise
Yeah.
for decent. Just because yeah, those
Um,
yacht missions were still pretty fun. I liked the vehicles and
so
stuff.
yes, COVID was a thing, but Cayo Perico, although it was good, it wasn't as good as Casino. There was options, but you could literally just do the same thing over and over.
I feel like it's important to note as well. I feel like a lot of players currently in this game don't remember what it was like when KO Perico first came out, but I remember, and it was a pretty buggy update when it came out. There was a lot of
Yeah,
problems with it.
that is true. Especially with the introduction when you're first going to KO Perico for the first time.
Yeah,
Like,
there's tons.
there was that black screen of death when you got onto a hack-in at the tower,
Yep,
and you would just be
yep.
stuck there, and you would just have to restart your game and hope that you didn't get it next time. Like,
There's also
quite
the bug
irritating.
where you'd spawn in on the compound and the guards would just randomly realize you're there as soon as you spawn in with your, you know, they would just like you get caught for no reason as soon as you started into the compound. I don't know if you remember that very well, but it was very frustrating at the time. That was a bug for months, and the only way out was you had to restart your entire game, and it was just it was a whole thing. I did not like it.
I can't remember that much that far, but I do remember the black screen of death. That was my biggest problem with it. Um,
Black screen, and just like it felt rushed. I feel like they had a deadline and they just rushed it out with a very and it was kind of the most buggiest updates I think I remember because I just remember bugs. They finally fixed it, but it was still like I will say though when it was released it became the best way to make money in the game. It was huge for the
Especially
grinder
without that
community.
timer that it has now, you could just boop, 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 make like
The
8
thing with
million in a
KO,
day.
thing with KO, right, is looking at KO as it was when it was released, like KO like 2021, for example, when they smoothed all the bugs and it was just as it was. That's a god tier update. But I feel like when you put in perspective how badly they've neutered KO the past couple years, it's no longer god tier for me.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna have to go in amazing.
I think I agree with you because yeah, like it was god tier for a long time, but just what they've done over the years with continuously nerfing that update, it's not what it was, which is quite sad.
Yeah, but without all those problems, the vehicles that they brought out were quite amazing. The submarine, quite a little trolley piece of kit that you
Yeah,
can use with the missiles. The trader,
Sparrow. Curator
Personally,
was huge.
personally, I would say that is probably one of the best vehicles to take out Mark IIs or Deluxos.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Uh,
It's a very good PvP vehicle.
yeah, the Sparrow, fast, you can get things done quicker instead of using the
Just the
Mark
fact that it
II.
was another vehicle you could quickly spawn right next to you on the road, you know, like
Yeah,
I feel like this update replaced a lot of vehicles in superiority. Like the Sparrow
yeah.
replaced the CEO Buzzard, the Trader replaced the Stromberg. It was just a lot of upgrades, a lot of upgrades.
But yeah, I think it has to slot into amazing. Like,
Yeah, it's just unfortunately what they've done to the heist over the
they've
past
just,
couple of years. It
yeah,
doesn't deserve it.
they've really killed it.
The nerf of the payouts, the 3-day cooldown, the changes of the guards, and being able to spot bodies. It's just too many negatives.
Yeah, and it really just loses its shine.
Yeah.
Right, going on to 2021 with. I'm just gonna put it down at the
Oh,
bottom straight away.
the beloved update. The most
Tunas,
beloved.
Los Santos
Oh,
Tunas. An update that brings. It's a decent solo business, isn't it? The
when it's double.
when
When
it's
it's double,
double,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
but these characters, Moody Man and what's the other stupid twat called?
Santa, however you say her name.
Santa, like, if you just listen to them for like a minute, you already want to bloody cut your ears off. They are just awful to listen to. They insult you. They literally make bloody sexual remarks to each other while you're fucking driving to the location.
They have unskippable phone sex. This was the first update where you couldn't like when they
Literally.
called you, if you hung up, they would keep talking still, and you'd be forced to listen to them, and you'd be forced to listen to them having phone sex as you did your mission, and then at
They
the same time
literally
they'd degrade you.
they literally butt fuck each other while insulting you. It's like some kink they bloody have. One of them looks bloody homeless and the other one looks like a bloody liberal. Like, fucking hell. Could it get any worse? Luckily, it doesn't get any worse because the vehicles are quite
Quite
good.
amazing. Yeah, I
Lots of
loved the vehicles from this
customization.
update.
Um, you had obviously the car meet, which is kind of cool for people who want to meet and not get blown up by an orbital cannon at the LS
Yeah, I mean, players
Customs.
for years have been asking for something like that. And I feel like this is a huge, important update for the car community. This was huge for the car community, and being able to have like little racetracks and car meet and custom buildings, that was huge.
But unfortunately, Moody Man does bring it all the way down to the bottom. I fucking hate him. And that bloody stupid pink-haired bitch.
See, I
Ruins
feel
the
like
update. Ruins it.
like if I look at if I look at it with a level head, it's not like it's still a good update. But I just because I purely hate Moody Man Santa so much, it belongs down there just because of my feelings about them. Like I feel like objectively, it's not the worst update this game ever had, but I just fucking hate
If
those
you
two.
take them out and put in some, I don't know, some generic characters, I'd probably put this up to at least decent or cool.
I put it cool. I'd put it cool, yeah.
But
But
other than that, it's at the bottom.
it's just the writing. It's the worst writing this game has ever had, like just for characters. Like holy shit, what were they thinking?
Whoever those writers were, I hope they get fucking fired or have been fired.
Yeah, like it's just
It was sort
yeah.
of the like KO, and this update was sort of the period where they started bringing in celebrities from real life, and
Yeah, because isn't Moody Man a real life celebrity? I'm pretty sure
somehow
he's like an actual DJ.
somehow he is. I don't know how. Must be like pure brain rot, but somehow he is. And just like with tuners, the contract also has a celebrity in it, Dr. Dre.
This is a huge update. This was I remember this was advertised everywhere. I don't know if you remember this when this update came out, but you could not
Yeah,
escape the
everywhere.
ads for it.
Yeah, this was like another
They paid
period
so much money.
where the game was going to peak levels. Maybe not absolute peak, but it was up there. It brought back a few characters.
A lot of beloved
Franklin,
characters.
Lamar,
Chop.
Chop. The vehicles were decent as well. A lot of Imani tech vehicles that were
They introduced a lot of
released.
likable characters. You know, I like Imani as a character. I like Charlie, the gun guy.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of good improvements to this update. It added a lot to the game.
The payphone hits, the security missions, just the entire storyline of the contract wasn't bad. It's just I don't really like them using celebrities. It just feels like an advertisement, just trying to promote the game.
Yeah.
Even though it is literally the most popular game in the world right now.
I mean, it was cool. I mean, it was cool seeing Dr. Dre. I don't really care as much as
I'd prefer Snoop Dogg, but
Snoop Dogg would have been
Dre,
cool.
yeah.
I liked the characters were like. I also like an important note is the Franklin and Lamar co-op missions. Those were really fun. I love those missions.
Trips, I think they were cool, weren't they?
Short trips. It felt like the single player DLC we never got.
Yeah, it was like a little reunion because it's been like 8 years since they did the story mode, and it really felt like we were catching up with them.
Yeah. And also just the revolutionary addition of the Imani tech vehicles. That really changed free mode a lot, because the missile lock-on jammer.
Yeah.
That was huge.
It made defensive fighting just a lot better. If you wanted to be left alone, get an Imani tech vehicle.
Exactly.
I think once again this is sort of the same like KO. It gets sort of shitter as time goes on. They've nerfed payphone hits significantly, haven't they?
They have, yeah, payphone hits.
You used to make how much? Like 130 grand per payphone hit? That's top.
With a 20-minute cooldown.
Top fucking tier shit right there.
Now it's 48 grand with a 10-minute cooldown, so not nearly as good. You're doing twice the work for slightly less money.
So yeah, so like you get like 80 grand or so. 80-90 grand.
Yeah.
But then you can get 130 grand. That's with doing all the challenges as well.
And that's just doing one mission. Keep in mind too, you have to do 2 missions now to make that same money in that time period. I would say too, like, an important note is the payout for the, what's it called, the Dr. Dre storyline or whatever is pretty crap. It takes like pretty long time. There's a lot of missions there. It takes a pretty long time to do it all.
Yeah, it takes like an hour each part, and there's 3 parts.
Yeah, and your friends if your friends helping you do not get the money they really should be getting, and you yourself only get like just barely a million, which personally for me, all the effort you put in, I think it's not worth it. It takes like 2 hours to do all those missions.
Yeah, depends how much you put into the agency. If you go super cheap, you get the amount you put in to the agency, which is not bad. But if you go top dollar, then you won't be. But I do think you should be getting like maybe 2 mil each one, so you get 6 mil, and then maybe like a bonus. So you get like 6 mil for all 3 parts, and then like $1 million bonus for doing it all first time. So 7 million.
Yeah.
I would say that's acceptable.
It was just like, but I just love Franklin and Lar coming back. I love the humor between them. I like when Chop had a bunch of fucking weed and they thought he was dying. And the other memes like this, I feel like I'm pretty sure they broke records with the player count with this update. It was the most players this game has ever had, I'm pretty sure, when this update came out. And it was huge for the community, just all the memes with Lamar and and Franklin. The way he was like, what's that scene where he's like, oh, that yee ass haircut, like he requotes that again from story mode.
Yeah, because at that time a lot of that meme was sort of spreading.
Huge meme.
So they were like, okay, well let's add our own piece, but sort of
that was like a meme of the year basically.
modernize it, I would say.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
in terms of position, I think this is going to be like maybe amazing.
Like, part of me almost wants to put it in God tier, but I just don't think it makes the cut, so I think amazing.
Yeah, amazing. Ah, yes, I remember this. Criminal Enterprises. That's the one with the IAA missions, if you do not recall.
I really didn't like this update. It was
I
a whole
didn't
lot of
either.
nothingness.
Yeah, it was just like a
It was just
nothing
lazy.
burger.
If
Just eating
I
nothing.
could put this update to one word, I would just put lazy. That's the only way I could describe it. The fact that like your only cutscene you have in the entire storyline is just a 2-second cutscene of you getting like sworn into the
Sworn,
IAA,
yeah.
and then like it's a cool storyline as a concept, but they just don't it's just laziness. There's no cutscenes. It's very forgettable. I barely remember what the story was about.
It's really just a continuation of Doomsday, but sort of
Yeah.
cleaning up Doomsday. And they do it in such a poor way, personally. Like, the Doomsday sort of story is interesting, but they just sort of not make it good. Like, the ending's sort of shit.
Also, I have a bone to pick with them because this was the first time I believe they added the careers menu, if I'm right.
mm,
The career award
I
section
thought that
menu.
was I thought that was just before Drug Wars.
Maybe it was. Wait, let me reread this. Maybe it isn't the one.
I think this is Drug Wars.
This is also an important note though with this update was they changed a lot with the payouts. This was a huge update for payout changes, and they nerfed the Mark II in this update. The Mark II got nerfed for the homing missiles accuracy, also got a nerf to its countermeasurements and how many you could have on it. And then there's permanent boosts added to races and adversary modes. Original heists got a boost. Doomsday Heist got a boost. Bigger paydays for associates in your organizations, and a lot more. This was a huge improvement. I think I'm really glad they finally improved the payouts of heists and things like that.
This was really like they were using the popularity of the contract to sort of ride through the summer update,
Yeah.
because this was just trash.
It felt like just like a balancing update. It wasn't like an actual update. It was just like a balancing update, basically. Because we
Yeah,
didn't
but
really get much new cars, did we?
they advertised it as a huge update, but it
They
wasn't.
did. No, you're right. It's just
And
like,
for that, I think it's probably going to go decent or meh.
like I almost would have put it in bad, but I'm reluctant just because of what they did with the payouts. Like, I'm really appreciative they finally changed those payouts.
And they did add some more missions for some of those businesses, didn't they? Special cargo. I'm not sure about vehicle cargo.
Oh,
MC stuff.
right.
Bunker stuff.
No, yeah, they added they added an MC safe house. They added a new CEO crate mission. They added the export mixed goods delivery, which got you 50 grand. They also did that for the bunker. They also, I think this was the update where they added the people inside of your CEO warehouses where you could get them to source for you.
Yeah, even though it was like $7 for one crate, but it was good because at least it was a guarantee. Like every time you would gamble, wouldn't you, for CEO crates?
Like, I am grateful they added all these balancing updates, but I feel like it's not deserved just because they had that stuff. Like, because when you look at the content, what's the new content? There's no new fucking content besides some
IAA
lazy missions. Yeah, but they're just
and some cars.
They're so lazy. Like, and what cars can you think of that update that you actually liked? You know, like what important cars?
It was like an upgraded OB 9F or something like that, 10F, 11F, something like that.
I feel like the balancing stuff they added shouldn't have been a part of a major subtitle update as like the big seller. That should just be a normal bug fix, or like it shouldn't be a big title for a summer update of, oh, the best quality is the balancing stuff they added. I kind of want to put it in bad.
I think probably the best compromise is meh. Like, it wasn't all bad, but it was really just the fixes and the changes that really keeps it from being bad, I would say.
But like, does that justify like this is supposed to be a big title summer update that we only get updates twice a year now, and it's just like it just felt like they just tossed in the tower like, oh, like I feel like they forgot an update was coming, and like at the Rockstar headquarters they're like, hey guys, how's the update going? And they're like,
What
update?
update?
What are you talking about? And they're
What?
like, oh fuck! And then they just slap together these IA missions, and they're like, guys, we have no content. What do we add? What do we add? And they're just like, oh, I got an idea. Let's add some balancing fixes, and that will count as content.
Yeah. I see what you mean, but yeah, I think I have to agree.
I think bad.
It's
just bad.
Yeah, it's a. Is it better than Arena War? Or the same?
I feel like Arena War had redeeming qualities that were new
More
content, like the
content.
Up and Atomizer.
Yeah.
So I feel like yes, like I felt really strongly about Arena War, but this update was just a whole bunch of nothing, and it's in a way it's worse than Arena War, because at least Arena War had a lot of content. Like, yeah, it wasn't great, but it was still like a shit ton of content they added. This was nothing, and this was supposed to be a major title
okay.
update.
You've convinced me. You fucking convinced me. All right.
Okay, all right.
Right. Okay. Christmas
It's a bad
update.
tier it goes. Banished.
Right. So we got Los Santos Drug Wars. Now this was put into 2 parts, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it was a two-parter one. This is the
For some
big drip
reason.
feed update. They drip fed the fuck out of this.
This is the climax of the drip feeding, which we both fucking despise, don't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Like drip feed, but not like for, I don't know, 3 months. Fucking hell.
I feel like I have to talk about the good stuff first before I go and talk about the bad stuff. The good stuff about this update was really the best part was the acid lab.
Yeah, that business is, well, after you get all the upgrades, you do all those missions, so you can get the most amount of money. It is a really good side of business. Better than import-export, better than bunker. It's just solid. All you gotta do, stock it up, sell. Simple
And it pays well. Like, this is like, we haven't really been
500
getting a lot of really good payout
Plus
businesses
more.
until
if you
that
sell
point.
in a 30-player lobby, don't you?
Yeah, fills up super fast. It's
With that booster,
very
in there,
solo friendly.
you can get that,
like
do that booster thing, and
it makes it go
solid.
faster. Yeah. It's just that is the big positive about this update, and I wanted to start with that before we get into
The bad shit.
all of this, the negatives.
Yeah. The characters. I don't like them.
They're annoying. They're not as annoying as Moody Man's Santa, but they're
I
annoying.
prefer. What's the druggie who helps you with the? Fucking hell, with the acid lab. Forgot his name.
Oh, Mutt.
Mutt, and who's the other guy?
Yeah, he's cool. He kind of
Lab
reminds me of
Rat.
Chef.
Lab Rat.
Oh,
and Mutt.
Lab Rat.
I would
Yeah.
say they are
Yeah.
the 2 most likable characters in this update. All the others are just not likable.
I feel like they're written for 12-year-olds because every 5
What the
seconds,
fuck
for
is
some reason.
Badonkadonk? Why?
Yeah, they just think it's funny to just scream badonkadonk every 2 seconds, and I feel like that's like humor
Am I
for a
missing a
13-year-old
joke here?
boy. I feel like a 13-year-old boy would be like, oh, that's so funny. Wow, oh, I love badonkadonk. I'm gonna say that now. Badonkadonk. That's how I picture them.
Yeah, it's literal child fucking humour. Yeah, I hate the ginger cunt with the beard. I don't like the wrestling lady. It's a shame we don't get to see Ron a little bit more. He gets like a cameo and then gets fucking like butt raped or something. I don't know. I do like the return of Friedlander. He was a character from story mode. He was Michael's
Oh, right,
therapist. and
Oh, right, I forgot he came back. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and it sort of leads to believe, for us to believe that he will return in the future as like some sort of
Mm.
villain, and I'm he's a good villain, but the characters who we're with are just shit.
Yeah, they're annoying. I know some people disagree and say they liked those characters, but I feel like the majority of people
If you
didn't
find
really
Badonkadonk
enjoy
funny,
them.
then I'm sorry, you got a smooth brain.
If that's your peak humor, then I'm
Yeah,
sorry, you got something coming for you.
but other than that, it's not a bad update, but I think it's got to be a decent or cool.
I'm trying to think of if there's any memorable vehicles added to this as well. Um, oh, it did add a lot of good quality of life. Like example, it
Yeah,
gave you the ability to finally hide your phone contacts.
yeah, the ones
I
that you
love
literally
they
don't
did that.
use.
They also let you
Was it the
launch.
radio as well? Radio was hidden?
Yeah, no, that was added before.
Oh,
Um,
just before, okay.
and then there was also they added the ability to launch business style missions from all lobby types, using the
Oh,
carrier
private.
byte.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty big one as well. Um, and they added the ability to play the casino story missions solo. So a lot of good quality of life improvements again, which just seems like the trend they've been doing the past couple of years now.
Finally listening to the community. It's been a bit
Yeah, it
fucking
took 10
late.
years, but
But
we're
yeah,
finally getting
wasn't,
somewhere.
yeah, was this the career part? I think it was, or just after this.
I
At the new
think
year.
so,
I think it was at the
but
new
I feel
year
like
with part 2, wasn't it?
yeah, well, I have something to say about career progress, so we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, I have feelings about
But
that.
it isn't on this list, so you might as well get it off as soon as we finish with this whole drug wars thing.
Yeah, I'll say it at the end. But yeah, this update, like, I feel like if you take away the acid lab, I consider it a bad update. But because of the acid lab update, I kind of want to put it in like decent or cool.
I think cool would be fair. I
I can meet
think
you there.
the business really helps it. The
Yeah.
payout and what you have to do, it really reminds me of, gives me bikers update feel, but not as
Mm-hmm.
good obviously. But it gives us like that bikers update feel.
Career progress. I really hate what they done with it because it's a spit. They spit in the face of veteran players because my issue with it is they've added all these cool challenges, which is cool. I like those challenges. I think it's nice they finally added these career progress challenges, but the issue is veteran players like you and I, all of our progress for some reason in most areas doesn't transfer over into those challenges. Like
Exactly. Yeah, like
the best example, which
masterminds.
pisses yeah,
Yeah,
what pisses me off the
mastermind.
most, the best example I can think of, is specifically the elite challenges.
Oh yeah, elite
Um,
challenges. Fuck.
the elite
Oh,
challenges for the original heists are the hardest things to do with this game. It was so difficult, and I've done it. You've done it with me. We have the
yeah.
T-shirt to prove it.
We've
But for
done
some
both
reason,
Doomsday and Original. Same with the Masterminds, we've done
yes.
both of them.
But for some reason, when I go into my progress, it says I have to do the elite challenge progress again. But I already did it. But it
Yeah,
wants me to do it again.
we've got the medals and the clothing to prove that we've done it. We've got the
Yep.
achievements. We should be given to us. We should be getting rewards
And the thing
for
is
it,
too,
but we don't.
it does that. It's not just that. It does it for multiple areas. There's so many. There's like dozens of challenges that I've already done that the game wants me to do again. Like it says I have to make 50 million in crates, for example. I've made 300 million in crates over the years. Like, bro,
Yeah.
like I do not need to make 50 mil again. Like it's just I just hate that all my progress is not drifted over into these challenges, and it's frustrating because it should transfer over, and I don't like it, and it makes me not want to ever bother with the career challenges because of all the progress I've made that hasn't counted towards that.
It's also it's too late in GTA
Yeah,
Online's life
that
cycle.
should have been added years ago.
Should have been
Years
at
ago.
least 2015,
Yeah, yeah.
2015.
2016 maybe, but like, yeah, no, like it's
It's
just,
too late. Like they've said they want to release GTA 6 what 2025? Optimistic
hmm
at best, but like really at this time, no. Completely worthless. That's why I don't
yeah,
bother with it as well. I don't bother
it's
with
just,
it.
yeah, like I want to do it, but also it's just, I don't want to redo the fucking elite challenges. Like, all of this stuff I've already, half of the stuff for the challenges I've already done, and the game wants me to do it again, and I'm like, I don't want to do it again. I've already fucking done it. So, yeah, boo. No, bad career challenges. I have a bone to pick, and boo Rockstar. Boo.
Yes. Right, we're going to move on to last year, which was the first one for the summer one. Was oh god, this one was sort of a stinker year. San Andreas Mercenaries.
Oh, man.
They made a lot of questionable changes, especially rebalancing uh, vehicles, payouts. Um, it was just really not that good of an update, especially with the new content. They nerfed the laser, the Hydra. Um, this was the point, wasn't it, with KO where they chopped his head off, gave us the like minus 25% take,
Huge
main
nerfs to
take
KO.
time as well.
And that nerf to the lasered Hydra was like huge. That really changed the game. I'm
Yeah,
still conflicted whether I believe it was right to nerf it or not, because it kind of just got replaced by other OP vehicles like the Raiju, so it didn't really fix the
well,
problem.
yeah. Well, the Raju was a new vehicle, wasn't it?
Yeah, was it added in that update? Was that the
Yeah,
update where the Raiju was
mercenaries.
added?
Yeah, it was the main thing. That was the highlight, I would say. Even though it is a overpowered vehicle. Stealth, good turning, fast. Um,
New King of the Skies, really.
yeah, like it made the lasers completely worthless,
It was
and
just
I don't
what
like
I
that.
don't like. What I don't like about this update is it's like they contradict themselves, because it's like, yes, they nerfed the Hydra and laser, but then they just immediately contradict what they're doing by adding an OP vehicle into the game. Like, with the removal, like, you know, it's like banning an AK-47 in a country and then bringing out a fucking, I don't know, like a different assault rifle variant instead, being like, we're gonna use this now. I like the Raiju. It's a great vehicle. It's just, I personally believe they need to nerf some areas of it, because it is a problem if you come across a griefer that uses that thing.
Before we get into the missions, I want to talk about like just the rest of the sort of changes and rebalances they've done. They
Yeah, go for it.
gave the customizations to the Avenger, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
and you were able to have
missiles and
missiles.
cannons.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did like that. It made the Avenger more usable, really, instead of just using it for the cannons.
Yeah.
Um, like they changed the orbital cannon refund, didn't they?
Oh, right, where you didn't get your refund for the orbital cannon anymore. That was a big one.
It was like, even though I hate the orbital cannon to begin with, you should still get a refund if you don't get the kill.
Yeah, you should. Especially because the orbital cannon is one of the best way to troll god mode people. So,
Yeah,
kind of sucks that you can't really troll god mode people anymore, because if they're in god mode and you orb them, well, looks like you lost your money.
yeah, you lost 1 million for what? Just tickling him. Other than that, I think we should get into the story mission, or story missions, the missions for it. The free mode missions were
Very
really,
forgettable.
they were forgettable, but they really just felt like a rehash of the agency missions from the contract. They were just rebranded in a more military style, and while that is, yes, yay, different type of missions, but it just felt like they were just copying the same sort of formula they had with that. and
Yeah.
just a bit lazy, bit fucking lazy. And then we get onto these ones where you have to go into a different lobby. These ones where you can get discounts. They're like, I haven't even finished all of them. I've done half of them, and they're boring. Go to this
They
place,
are.
do this, do that, blah 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 blah. It's boring, fucking
Not
boring.
much of a story. It's just a whole lot of nothingness.
Oh, we're mercenaries. We're gonna go after people. Well, mercenaries can still have a story, asshole. Come on, make it at least enjoyable.
I feel like it's not as bad as like the IIA Paper
The
Trails
summer
update.
special. Yeah.
Yeah, but I still want to put it in the bad tier because I just don't. It just has too many negative qualities about it. There's just.
Yeah,
I just
like
don't
even though
like it.
I like the Raiju, it's still too OP. And
Yeah,
the
it still has
content for it
problems.
is just wank.
Yeah, it's just I think this belongs in bad tier.
Yeah, I have to agree
Like
with
it's
you
not
on
as
that.
bad as the Paper Trails DLC or stuff, but it still belongs in bad tier.
Right, now we're gonna go to the most recent update, the final Chop Shop. I haven't really played a lot of this. I played it for, like in the first few days, but other than that, like not really. So my opinion might be a little bit biased, but I don't particularly like this update.
I don't think it's as bad as the update prior, the Mercenaries update. I've played it a pretty decent amount, but there was a lot of issues with it. I don't think it's better. Like I like that, you know, you can make money off tow trucking vehicles and stuff and break it down and just like kind of do these mini vehicle heists. But I feel like my biggest problem with this update is it limits how many vehicles you can grind per week. You only do 3 vehicles per
And
week.
how much do you get for them?
Dog water. You make like 260 grand or 300 grand. Kind of varies based off the
car.
vehicle. Yeah, but yeah, I didn't like how they changed. They made it where you, like, even if you wanted to make money with this update, you couldn't because, oh well, you've done your 3 vehicles of the week, so guess that 5.5 million you spent on the chop shop, you're not gonna make that money back anytime soon because only 3 vehicles a week. Like, you know, the more I think about it, I kind of just want to put it in bad tier because I just hate that they did that.
I also hate the characters. I hate that they basically just give Yusuf Amir a cameo role. I would have preferred that if he was like one of the main people that you talk to, sort of like Gay Tony, but instead you get this unlikable loser of a character, like his cousin or whatever. And it's just shit. Not interesting to talk to. He hasn't
It's pretty
had the
forgettable. I don't
development,
really care about
and
him.
forgettable. And the things
Yeah.
he say are just, oh god, just like, please.
And also, this is also the update where they did another nerf to KO, and, you know, just kind of gave it the final blow to kind of ruin the update, you know, like, it's definitely the kicker, what they did to this. So yeah, it's just meh.
They really try and put a new approach onto old DLCs like import and export, but they just do it in such a bad way. Other than that, the vehicles are not bad, are they? I think we're still getting them, aren't we? Are they still teasing them, or is that it?
I think that's it. I can't say for sure at the time of recording this, but I'd say it's been like a month and they haven't really released any new stuff, so I'd agree with you.
It's just, yeah, they could have done a lot better, and they should definitely get rid of that limit.
Yeah. That limit is stupid, and I think bad tier, honestly. I was almost gonna put it in like meh, but I just want to put it in bad tier. I just don't like it.
What else? They've got these drift races, haven't they? Drag races. What was that new weapon? It was like a Scar sort of styled weapon. like a really heavy rifle sort of bam 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 gun. Short magazine, high damage.
Yeah, it's just meh and bad tier.
Yeah, meh or bad tier.
I think bad, honestly. I just like, it almost goes in meh, but I just hate what they did with the capping. That's such a stupid idea for the amount of money you invest.
At this point in the game, I would say 2023 is probably one of the worst years they've had for updates.
Yeah.
For only having
I
2
agree with you.
updates, they do the most stinkiest fucking content there is. They focus on rebalancing, and the content they do add is just shit. It's boring. I think
Yeah, I agree with you.
I do got to admit, with Chop Shop, they do add some unique ways to get vehicles. But yeah, it's just the amount of money you get and the amount of time you put in, it's just not worth it. But overall, that is our opinion. The game, yeah, still good. But hopefully they can create some more top tier stuff before the game finally dies and we all move on to GTA 6. So anyway, thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Yes, and
Thank
bye-bye.
you.
We will
Bye-bye.
upload probably in a year.
For real.
For real.
So real.